Welcome to our Curious Amalgam, the weekly podcast brought to you by the Antitrust Law section of the American Bar Association. Our Curious Amalgam explores the fascinating and increasingly overlapping world of competition, consumer protection, data protection, and privacy law. Each week, we bring you leading global experts on the most compelling issues of the day. Enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome to Our Curious Amalgam, the podcast from the Antitrust Law section of the American Bar Association. My name is Matthew Hall, and today's episode is it a Parallel Universe? Competition Law in the Metaverse. In March 2023, EU Competition Commissioner Vestager, commenting on developments in the digital economy, said in a speech, quote, "It is already time for us to start asking what healthy competition should look like in the metaverse, or how something like ChatGPT may change the equation," end quote. Commissioner Vestager didn't define the metaverse, but maybe we should start there. There's no consensus definition, but according to ChatGPT itself, the metaverse is defined as, quotes, "The metaverse is a term used to describe a virtual universe where users can interact with a computer-generated environment and with each other in real time. It is an immersive, shared space that can be accessed from a variety of devices, including virtual reality headsets, augmented reality devices, and traditional desktop or mobile screens," end quotes. Sounds like a good description to me. Today we'll be discussing the potential application of antitrust or competition law to this immersive shared space. My co-host today is Anora Wang. Hello, Anora.
Hi, Matthew.
Who is our guest today?
Well, our guest, Yusuke Takamiya-san, is a partner at the law firm Mori Hamada and Matsumoto, and he's based in Tokyo. Yusuke provides a wide range of legal advice on competition law, such as merger controls, cartel, leniency matters, unilateral conduct, and unfair trade practices. Yusuke also has significant expertise on cases which require multilateral responses involving jurisdictions including EU, US, and China. Yusuke also serves as a member of the leadership of the ABA section of antitrust law, and with his broad background, his focuses, he would providing us with some very interesting and very informative perspectives on Metaverse today.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Anora. And let's jump into our questions and welcome Yusuke. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you, Matthew and Anora, for inviting me today. So I'm very excited to talk about the Metaverse today.
The pleasure all ours. On a high level, I guess, people listening is already really itching with the question. So what is this Metaverse?
Sure. In my understanding, the Metaverse has no clear definition. But I agree that the ChatGPT's answer that Matthew described is a very moderate and good explanation of the metaverse. So I understand that one of the typical definition is immersive and constant virtual 3D world where people interact through an avatar to enjoy entertainment. And I think that the virtual world in some games may be a good example of the metaverse.
What are some features that people would be looking for? Would they know they're in a metaverse when they see such features?
Sure. It is a very good question. So, as I said, there is no clear definition of the metaverse, but the typically alleged features are realism, ubiquity, interoperability, and scalability. And this is some verbal concept. However, in my feeling, the very important features of the metaverse is users can enjoy rich experience in the metaverse world. That means that the users can enjoy its avatar experience or something like that.
Well, I was just going to say there, Yusuke, those are interesting features. I guess we'll come on to some of the other those in the discussion. But it sounds like interoperability sounds like something that competition lawyers may be interested in, and probably scalability. So, interesting that you flagged those up right at the beginning.
I agree with you. So these two words, interoperability or scalability, may be a good key to consider the antitrust insight of metaverse and metaverse. So thank you, Matthew.
So there would be some. So I guess I want to just flag some things that you have provided in describing the features of the metaverse. So it would be allowing a sort of like immersion experience, right? In virtual worlds, and then is it necessary to have some like network design into this? Would be necessary for a user, I guess, to have some access to the virtual space via some digital terminals?
Thank you, Anora. Yes, I don't think that there's a definitely necessary feature for the metaverse, but uh, usually, in general, the users use some kind of digital device to access the metaverse. So, in that meaning, the users needs a kind of the very uh, high technology devices to
Mm-hmm.
dive into the metaverse world.
Yeah, yeah. So a metaverse may sound all new and foreign, I guess, to some, but it has been developed in a while, right? If we really draw deep into the concept, could you maybe walk us through some of the most notable events related to the development of the metaverse?
Sure. As you described, there's a kind of long history about the metaverse. I, at the same time, I think it is important that metaverse is a quite new concept. But in one word, the metaverse is a kind of word, but a kind of word recently becoming used. However, there's a kind of long history which indicates the virtual world or the other world than our real world. So, in my research, there are plenty of events about such kind of the virtual world. How and as for the metaverse, there is some kind of history from 20 to 30 years,
Mm-hmm.
and in the world, I can say that the metaverse is mainly developed in the gaming industry.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of game users can enjoy the experience in the metaverse world. And however, as we know, recently the Facebook's CEO Mark Zuckerberg announced that Facebook it will change the company name to the Meta, and
Yeah.
such announcement, may make the word metaverse very preparing.
That's definitely Facebook, I guess now Meta, the company's announcement is definitely a watershed, I guess, event in the development of metaverse world. But let's just highlight several of the games that have been developed, I guess, in the 20th century. Was not a big gamer. I still am, but I know if we count like Pokemon Go as one of the games, or that's
Hmm.
probably part of the metaverse version. And then I guess Fortnite is one of those. So the development and I guess the
Right.
popularity of these games really pushed the concept or acceptance of the metaverse in its like truly broad sense to many people. Is that right?
You're right. So the Fortnite or other famous game is a very typical example of the metaverse, and people are enjoying it.
Yeah. So other than games, what general business uses have been created for the metaverse?
That's a very good question, I think. As we discussed, the gaming is a promising use case of the metaverse. However, it is important that some people point out that there is no compelling reason to use metaverse if it comes to the business or our daily life. So some company explains that the metaverse is very useful to have a meeting in the business occasion, or have a kind of held a kind of seminar in the education industry. However, in my understanding, finding suitable use case for metaverse other than the game industry may be a key to make the metaverse more common or popular.
Yes, it seems to me, Yusuke, that
Hmm.
it's a solution which is it's a kind of it's a product which is looking for us something to work on, isn't it? And there's a lot of advertising here in the UK by Meta itself of
Hmm.
possible uses. They say students are going to be able to go back in time and meet a mammoth or something like that. So it sounds like they're trying to create a market, aren't they, where maybe there is none at the moment.
Hmm. Oh, that's interesting. Yes, the company who are focusing on the metaverse should create their own market in the metaverse world. So that's an kind of an encourage competition for to provide a new service or product to the consumers. That's a good point, Mas.
Yeah. Yeah, I think education may be a good example, but some other, I think, maybe obvious examples, including maybe advertising, right? Could I be placing my product's logo or description in a metaverse world? And then it would be like, allowing people in the immersion experience to actually see it and maybe even feel it and use it. That's probably a good use. um, so,
Maybe.
so what yeah, yeah. So,
Sorry.
so what are some of the major, I guess mostly platform operators, or maybe some other
Mhm.
businesses in general, they are working in the space?
Sure. There are a lot of the actual player in the metaverse space. So for example, the Meta, as we discussed, has a good exposure on the metaverse world, and the Japanese company Sony is an aggressive developer because they have a good gaming asset in their business portfolio. And the Microsoft has encouraged the service in the metaverse world by using Teams or other their assets. But on the other hand, I think that the other major platform operators, including the Google, Amazon, or Apple, or may not so active to develop the technology compared to the Meta or the Sony. And in my country, because of the pandemic, ordinary Japanese company like the traveling company or other daily life company tend to broaden its business by making use of the metaverse technology. So that is a status of the metaverse industry.
So we're the section of antitrust law. So we obviously are concerned with potential or already actuated competition problems or concerns. So maybe on a high level, would you flag some of the major discussions or concerns of the potential competition issues related to the metaverse?
Sure. And it is important that metaverse and competition discussion is very preliminary. So
Hmm.
not many people are discussing about this topic. However, there are some kind of discussion as for what the implication made from the metaverse and competition discussion. So, in a short word, there are two aspects of the metaverse. One is an anti-competitive aspect, and the other is pro-competitive aspect.
Hmm.
And in the anti-competitive aspect, the because the metaverse, you you need a lot of users in metaverse world, so the probably the emergence, the dominant position may be easily emerge in the metaverse world, and as an likely digital platform world, transfer of dominant market power to other markets is likely to occur due to the measures to ensure the interoperability or something like that. That is the anti-competitive aspects of the metaverse industry. However, as we discussed earlier, there are apparently pro-competitive aspects. By using the metaverse, creations of completely new markets or products in business field. So we can say such kind of creation of new market is the pro-competitive, and also probably the competitive existing competition situation may be changed significantly in the metaverse world, because people use metaverse technology to purchase goods and products, and the existing players may be defeated in such a new market. So the metaverse technology may change the competition environment to the very pro-competitive ones. That is my initial insight on the metaverse and the competition.
Yeah, that is insightful. I guess for people who generally don't understand metaverse that deeply, and they probably have just heard of it, and they may have heard some other novel and new concepts in the recent years, including blockchain or just digital platforms in general. So are these discussions metaverse in relation to competition, would that be similar or maybe in some aspect different from discussions about those digital platforms and blockchains in general?
Mhm. Thanks, Anora. Yes, it is very important suggestion. In my analysis, the competition law issues in the metaverse and the competition discussion is really similar to those of the digital platforms. In short, the metaverse operator may be a position of the digital platform operators because they operate the metaverse platform. However, I think that there is a different nature in the metaverse competition from digital platforms. In other words, probably the trending concept, multi-homing, could not be easily realized in metaverse because the
Mm-hmm.
users do not join many metaverse at the same time, and the users do not like to change the avatar, the login information to one metaverse to this other metaverse. The immersive experience is a core concept of the metaverse, so
Mm-hmm.
multi-forming is not easily occurred in the metaverse world. And the other aspect, I have to I have to I have to say here is that in order to develop the immersive metaverse experience, it probably it may be evaluated as pro-competitive if the metaverse operator provides its own metaverse devices or technologies, which enables the users to enjoy the immersive experience. This kind of discussion is somewhat different from the discussion in digital platform and competition.
Yeah. I want to flash out a little bit what you just said, and I think that's important. Like some of the key characteristics of the metaverse, which is different from like blockchain or some other digital platforms in general, right? Including the multi-layered structure, right? And maybe how versatile the metaverse can be. Can you maybe explain that a little bit more? How the multi-layered structure is actually a key characteristic makes the competition concern or discussions important.
Sure. Actually, because the metaverse technology is very complex and difficult, I'm not sure
Mm-hmm.
whether I understand completely about the technology. However, I understand that the metaverse business is consisting of uh, multiple layers, which includes the infrastructure layer, the spatial computing layers, and content layers, experience layers, and so on. So, in order to make the integrated metaverse experience to the use, providing to the users, uh, the metaverse operators should integrate the multiple layers technology or services into one product.
Hmm.
So the metaverse providers should have the very wide capability of the products or services to the users in the multiple layers. So that is an important point, Anora.
Yeah, that's very helpful. So I guess against that background, I guess in more detail, what are some particular aspects of the metaverse that
Mhm.
can raise antitrust concerns?
Sure. I think that in each antitrust aspects, that is an horizontal cooperation, the horizontal collaborations, vertical conducts, and the mergers and acquisition, or the merger review um, aspects. We have some points to discuss. So I think it is better for us to discuss one by one.
Yeah, yeah. So let's discuss perhaps is there horizontal concerns like for instance if I'm a metaverse provider and then I don't know that would I try to merge with a different company providing its own metaverse. Maybe I specialize in certain experience, um, like maybe clothing or maybe fashion, and then some metaverse focuses on some other aspects of like people's experience, maybe certain types of food, or like operators of metaverse, if they are going to maybe engage in general the M&A activities like they are in other business worlds, um, would that raise any antitrust concern, and would that be different from any other sectors or industries?
Mm, thank you. I think as for the merger review aspect of the horizontal combinations, um, there is not a matter of the not a matter which needs the special analysis on the metaverse technology. So we need to analyze whether merging parties are have the same products or services. They are horizontally they have horizontal competition each other or not, and so on. So in a kind of the common general sense, we need to make a special analysis in the horizontal business combination. However, I have to say that as for the cartel or the horizontal cooperation conduct, we need to, or a kind of horizontal concerted action. We have to we can provide some kind of the interesting example in the metaverse world, like
Hmm.
I can say that uh, for example, in order to ensure compatibility between metaverses, metaverse itself or the metaverse layer operators exchange competitively sensitive information of CSI to other players or make
Hmm.
agreement with other competitors, which may lead to the competition law problem. And the second is that the exchange of competitively sensitive information in the players among the players uh, above the metaverse world, kind of the virtual or restaurant or virtual shop, which may make the competition problem apparently. But I have to, I think it is important to strengthen here that these kind of competition law issues is not unique to the metaverse world. We can analyze these things by the traditional measures because of course, the exchange of competitively sensitive information or commercially sensitive information is problematic from the antitrust law perspectives. And if competitors make agreements each other in even in the virtual world, it may
Hmm.
lessen a competition and harm consumers. So we can apply the same or similar principle in the horizontal concerted action, even in the metaverse world.
But Yusuke, I think you're saying there as well
Mhm.
that they're not actually operating in the virtual world there, are they? They're just acting as normal businesses, which are potentially exchanging CSI, whether it's on user fees or just on what type of business areas they might try to attack. So, as you say, I think your comment there is that they're just operating as normal businesses who happen to be operating virtual worlds
Hmm.
as their business.
Yeah.
Yes, your opinion is completely correct, and I completely agree with you. Thank you, Matthew.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about vertical issues potentially. Like,
Hmm.
so I think it probably, and I may be wrong, it's probably related to one of the aspects or characteristics of the metaverse that you highlighted before, which is the multi-layered structure, right?
Hmm.
So what kind of vertical issues are we worried about?
Sure. Probably the metaverse operators, the meta or the metaverse, the operators of the metaverse, which face the users directly, may make a significant influence on the business activities of the different layers relating to the metaverse technology. So they would like to make agreements with certain different players to supply exclusively their service or products to the large metaverse players, or they request that players in different layers to provide their goods and services optimized for its own metaverse, like the metaverse. So such kind of the conduct may be expected in the metaverse industry. But I think that we can analyze these things by using the traditional antitrust tools, like whether there is an exclusionary effect in this in this area or in this situation. So we
Hmm.
can say that the analyzed landscape is completely different from the metaverse and traditional antitrust analysis. However, I want to strength that the because we can as we can discuss that the optimization of the one's metaverse technology it may be a good to the users because the users expect the immersive experience in the metaverse service. So it may be a good for consumers if the metaverse operators ask the developer of services or the VR devices to customize their products or services to its own metaverse. So in that aspect, there is a kind of the unique consideration. We need unique considerations to the metaverse and the competition here.
That's very insightful.
That's interesting indeed, Yusuke. And I was just looking
Hmm.
before the podcast at one of your papers talking about the
Hmm.
layers, and it's a very interesting. We'll have it up on the website as well. But
Hmm.
you show the layers starting at the bottom with the basic infrastructure, all the way through to the user experience at the top, and all the layers in between. And as you say, this is where all the vertical links
Yeah.
arise. I thought that was as you say, you don't, and I definitely don't understand all the technology in between. But there's
Mhm.
an you set out the 7 layers in a very interesting way, I thought.
Right. Yeah. Understanding that each layer may be a important point to understand the metaverse, but such technologies is very difficult for lawyers to understand.
Yeah, yeah. So, what about mergers and acquisition? Just focus on this a little bit more. So, are
Hmm.
there right now? Obviously, this is a new and developing area. Are there limited numbers of metaverse providers? And again, mindful of the multi layers, right? There may be multiple providers on this infrastructure level, and then there may be a different number, a finite number of competitors at a different level. For instance, maybe payment settlement. So, how should that be analyzed? And would that be different than traditional antitrust issues that we looked at?
Yes, analyzing um, business combinations of merger review from the antitrust perspective into the metaverse and the competition is very difficult to conduct because we cannot we can't predict what kind of business combination will occur in the metaverse competition. However, in my feeling, the metaverse operator, the giant metaverse operators like Meta or the Sony or other companies may purchase or may try to acquire the great player in different layers of the metaverse. So if that is the case, we have to analyze whether the purchaser's business portfolio compete with the target company or whether there's a vertical relationship between these two parties. Uh, and so on. So, uh, in this situation, we can analyze the competition and a kind of competition environment from using the traditional antitrust tools or general import antitrust tools. However, I can say that in order to make users experience more um, how I can say more powerful or more productive or more interesting or exciting, it is probably important for metaverse operators to purchase or acquire important players in the different layers. So the importance of the so whether such a business combination may benefit the seamless user experience in the metaverse world may be one factor when we analyze the business combination from the antitrust perspective.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, this is a very exciting area to watch. I guess before we go to a different non-subscription section, any final comments on the metaverse or any predictions?
Yes, I think that this discussion is very primitive right now. However, actually, the Japan Fair Trade Commission, the Fair Trade Commission in my country, already held a conference about the metaverse and the competition. It is very trendy topic. So the probably the antitrust practitioners, including the agency officials, academia people, and the original antitrust lawyers can start discussion about the metaverse and the competition. And I believe that there is an interesting and exciting topic to discuss in this field.
That is great.
Sounds definitely the case, and I think some of us need to start actually looking at the metaverse and maybe getting a headset so we can understand what's actually in there. And I saw that there is a metaverse, or somebody set up a metaverse competition agency. But I guess there could be multiple ones, couldn't there? Because maybe each metaverse would need its own competition agency, or I don't know, they could compete for the best regulatory regime or something.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Maybe.
so Yusuke, that's been extremely interesting. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
At this stage in our podcast, we always like to move to a more personal side of things. And
Mm-hmm.
we always like to ask our guests this
Mm-hmm.
question, which is, please tell us something interesting or unusual about yourself that we would not know if we only knew you professionally.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Matthew, for the interesting question. And actually, in Japan, we don't make such private question to the professional occasion in the professional occasion. However, I can say that my hobby is mountain trekking, and these days, because the COVID-19 pandemic is almost over, even in the conservative country like Japan. So I plan to make the mountain. I plan to resume the mountain trekking in these couple of days. And uh, from the such experience, the exercise, I think I can make my thought on a fashionable topic like the medical competition more advanced. So the walking in the mountainous field is a kind of the energy food for my daily life.
That's excellent. I'm sure there are some extraordinarily beautiful places there to do mountain trekking.
Yeah.
Certainly not the case around here in southern England, where there aren't really many mountains to speak of
Hmm.
at
Hmm.
all. We
Yes.
also like to ask, and so this is probably inappropriate, but we like to ask our
Hmm.
guests another question.
Hmm.
And we ask you to choose a number, and we call this section the Curious Hat.
And now it's time for the Curious Hat!
So Yusuke, please choose a number between 1 and 25. Okay.
All right. All right. So my favorite numbers is 21. 21.
Okay, so number 21 is, what is your favorite sport and why? Maybe it's mountain trekking, but another sport.
Another sport. My favorite sport other than mountain trekking is swimming. So because I don't do a lot of the kind of the exercise during the days because the antitrust lawyers are very busy. So we need to make an hard sports to maintain our health. And I hear that the swimming is a perfect sport to maintain our physical conditions perfect. And in the simple words, I love swimming and I'm good at swimming, I believe. So my favorite sport is swimming.
Have you been a swimmer for a long time? Did you swim when you were at school and compete?
Yes, I did my swimming for school. Yes, I did a swimming from my childhood age and elementary school and junior high school. Yeah.
I was going to ask, since we talked
Mm-hmm.
about metaverse and the
Mm-hmm.
two types of sports that we talked about, like mountain climbing and swimming, are probably among the
Mm-hmm.
harder kinds to replicate the experience in the metaverse, right?
I agree with you. But maybe
Yeah.
if there may be a developed virtual VR set is developed. We can experience the swimming or mountain trekking even in the metaverse world. I'm not sure.
But there's something in the real world.
Well, the way things are going,
Right.
yeah, the way things are going, you never know. It may be the metaverse you can swim in within a few years.
Maybe.
So thank you very much, Yusuke. Again, that's been an extremely interesting discussion of the metaverse and competition law. And thank you very much, Anora, as well. And thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode of Our Curious Amalgam. And we will see you next time.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Our Curious Amalgam, a competition, consumer protection, data protection, and privacy law podcast. It is produced and shared around the globe by ABA's Antitrust Law Section. The opinions expressed by the participants in this podcast are their own and do not necessarily represent their employer or other organizations. If you like what you heard or would like to become a member of the American Bar Association, please check out what the Antitrust section has to offer at ambar.org/antitrust. You can learn more about our podcast at ourcuriousamalgam.com. If you have comments, suggestions, or podcast ideas, please reach out to us at podcast@ourcuriousamalgam.com. Until next time, thank you for listening.